Hello and welcome back. Today is all about history and geography. We're going to do them both together. I just find that putting them together is really helpful. It kind of does a 2-in-1, so it's really helpful. And I hope you enjoy it. I have so many different ideas for you. So this is probably going to be a longer video, but remember, we're incorporating two things into one today. So I hope you enjoy it. So, one way you can tackle history is by tackling one history person or a historical event that happened. And I know that we're kind of limited on our resources because libraries are closed. I don't know if Amazon is delivering anymore. I do know that Barnes & Noble is still providing, their stores are still open and they're also shipping books out. So if you really want the book, that's an option, okay? But you have your technology with you, so whether it's an iPhone, an iPad, or a laptop, you can still access YouTube to find mini biographies or biographies that are catered to children. So say for example, you wanted to study the life of, I don't know, Cleopatra. Well, you can just go on YouTube and I would search for biography of Cleopatra for children. Even if you have kids that are in high school, that's fine. You always want to start with something that's very basic and easy to digest because I also learn along with them. So something that is easier for them to grasp and understand is going to be really successful to teach them about this person, okay? And so after you read it, whether you are reading to them, whether they're watching it on YouTube, whether you have the book or whether you printed something online, you can do this while maybe they're having a snack. I know when we do history, I either have the kids sit down and have their lunch and then I'm reading to them, or maybe we do like this big pot of popcorn, and so it becomes like fun for them. They're like, ooh, we're gonna eat popcorn, but really I just want to keep them engaged so that they're paying attention. So that's the tip. It's always fun to have them gather around a snack while you're reading to them, or you're having them watch a YouTube video. So another thing you can do is maybe during lunch, they could be listening to you as well. So whether you have them listen to you or watch the video with you, you can also do it while they're eating, or something else that it seems very effective is I have my boys take out their little Fortnite figures and they actually role play the story while I'm saying it. So then that makes it even more engaging because they want to pay attention. Like, who did what, or was it this? And so we've done that actually for historical biographies. We've done it for Shakespeare plays, and it just makes it a lot more engaging experience because they want to make sure they're paying attention because they're the little guys moving around. So whether you bring them around with their action figures, with their dolls, or with snacks, that's going to help them engage and pay closer attention to the biography. Other things that you can do, as I mentioned, I don't know if the books are available, but let's say you do get access to buy some books online. I recommend this series, the Who Was series. They're super easy to read and follow along. They have a couple of pictures, some illustrations, and because they're so easy to digest, they're really easy to understand. They're short, and not only will you follow along, your kids will too. So I really like this series. Another series I like is the I Survived. And this one takes you into, these are historical fiction books. They take you into a fictional story of a boy, and he's always part of this historical event that happened. So obviously 9/11 actually happened, but his story is not actually a nonfiction, right? His part is made up. But as though his story intertwines with 9/11, it gives you a more, just a deeper understanding of what happened from the eyes of an 11-year-old boy, I think he is, 11 or 12. So, I mean, who knows? They might do the I survived the coronavirus, right? You know? So that's another series that I really like. This one's from Scholastic, and just, again, we kind of fill our shelves with these I Survived books because, so I Survived books and the Who Was series. So after you have read or watched these videos, and the kids are ready to do something else, like maybe you can do something to extend that experience for them. Maybe cook a meal around that era or that country where it took place. Maybe they can dress up in costume and pretend they're the person, and they can give a presentation based on that character. Maybe they want to present like an oral presentation when they're speaking in front of you and giving a presentation in front of all your family members, and that way they present to you what they learned, and they'll be able to again reiterate what they've been hearing so that you can see if they were really enjoying it and paying attention. And another thing you can do, you can create a model based on whatever you guys were talking about. So maybe you were studying about the pyramids. Maybe you can try to recreate a pyramid. Maybe you were talking about a particular castle. You could try to recreate that castle. You know, it depends on your kids. You know, maybe you have an artistic, artsy one that likes to draw, or maybe you have an engineer and that wants to create something, or maybe you have an actor and they want to act out a piece, a monologue from one of the characters. However they want to express what they've learned, you know, have them give you suggestions on how they could present the material back to you. So these are ways to do the history side of it. And now I'm going to share with you how you can incorporate geography with them. So over here I have my little globe. So this is one of the things you can use to try to hone in where the story took place or where the event took place. And then you can help your kids, or you can have them show you where this event took place, and this kind of gives them a more real feeling of what happened. And so you might say, okay, so this happened, let's say we were doing Genghis Khan in the Mongols. It was in Mongolia. So they would try to find, where is Mongolia? And so you can help them find it. So it's right there. And then you would ask them things like, where are we? Oh, where is the United States? So then they would start looking and see like, oh, there we are, the United States. Oh, okay. So how far are we from Mongolia? And how would we get there? Would we get there by, could we travel by a car? No. Could we travel by a plane? And that could be for the younger children, maybe the older children. Let's calculate to see more or less how long would it take us to get there via plane, how long would it take us in a boat, and things like that. You can incorporate it, and you can change it up based on their level. So that's one way to kind of integrate geography into this, to give them an idea of where these events took place. Another thing that I would have them do, and we do this a lot in our homeschool community, is we trace a lot of maps. So once upon a time I went to a homeschool convention and I picked up these maps, which is really, it's like a packet of maps. This one's the world map. So this is a really neat way to have them maybe redraw it, or just color it in, maybe label it, or maybe just label the country where the event took place and maybe label yours. Like, I live here and Cleopatra lived over here in Egypt. And then that way it'll give them a little bit more understanding of the proximity of where these events took place. So I do have various maps that I picked up. Africa, South America, the United States, and Mexico. So I'm offering all these. I'm going to be scanning them and providing them to you as a PDF, so that regardless of what you're covering in history, you can have a map that goes along with it, so that you can incorporate geography with them. So this is how to incorporate some geography into your history. Now, one more thing that I like to do, I did this last year. Over the summer, I had a basket of biographies that we read. We just went from biography to biography, and I just find it a really neat thing to do with the kids, to read to them biographies, so that they will learn the lives of these great people that did amazing things in the world. And I love having them study their character and see what made these people so amazing. And then we would take a little graph sheet, just a regular graph sheets, and these I can also provide a PDF for you. And so we just jotted down, starting with creation, 450 AD, 1400, and then the first person, or wherever we started that person we were studying, was a Genghis Khan. So Genghis Khan was in 1162, so he's right between 460 and 1500. So basically, as you read a biography with them or a historical event, you would start jotting down that event or person into your little timeline graph. So it'd be, ideally, you'd want to take these all together really long so they can see, okay, here's our timeline. Here's Genghis Khan between this year, and then we had Vivaldi, who we started studying, the composer Vivaldi, and then Louis Braille, Helen Keller, and look at Helen Keller and Gandhi were right next to each other because they existed at the same time. They were alive during the same time, and that kids just found fascinating. It's like, wow, so Gandhi was doing this while Helen Keller was doing that. And so that makes it, again, more real when you can connect people from all over the world. When something was happening in India with Gandhi, something over here was happening in the United States with Helen Keller. And so that just makes the whole history not something that was, past and just happened, but it just brings it home a little bit more and makes it more real. So I find that super fascinating with this timeline, doing this with the children. So for that reason, I'm going to be providing this graph sheet so you can also do a little timeline with your historical events and people in history. So I hope I provided you enough resources. Lastly, this little notebook, whatever you have at home, we just list all the different biography names that we've done. And we check when we write them in as we're reading the book, and then we check it off as we're writing them in our timeline. That way we can see where our people were in the timeline in history. So yeah, just a regular notebook. So I hope all that provides you some ideas, some resources for you to use at home. I know during this time resources are limited, so we don't have access to libraries or even Amazon, but there is Barnes & Noble, and I do provide you with those PDFs for the maps, and you can always use YouTube or Google an article about these biographies or these historical events so that you can make your home enriching, and you can do an activity together with all the kids, and you can build it up or make it less challenging, more challenging, however you want. This is what homeschooling is all about. This is it. You cater it to your children because only you know your children. Nobody knows them better than you do. So you'll be the best teacher because you were their first teacher. God bless you.